mom are having fun. Kids are pleasers. Boy, they want to please. They want to please you. And so the first thing what they will do is quit. And you'll ask them, well, it's not fun anymore. No, it's still fun to them. They will quit because you quit having fun. I know this is kind of drawn from the hip, but that's why this program is totally different, because it's not just teaching basketball, it's teaching life skills. Because if your kids do not understand this mental toughness now, I will see them in college. I work for Purdue Fort Wayne. And I tell you, a lot of those kids were, if you're not mentally tough, you're mentally soft. And we've been working with them the last couple of years. What did they do? They beat IU. I'm an IU grad. Sat on the bench and watched them beat IU. It was amazing to watch how mentally tough these kids became. They believed they could do anything because they just became tougher. And it takes a process. It's a process like anything. But you as parents are probably the most important part of this, to help get your kids to be mentally tough for the next phase. Because if you don't, it's a race to nowhere. It just does not go well for any of us. This is a key point. Coaches and parents, and every school I deal with, you're not going to agree on everything. You might as well be mentally prepared that your kid's not going to play enough, it's not going to be, you're not going to agree with the officials, we're not going to agree. It's just part of it. But we have to be on the same page about, this is about the kids. This is about the kids growing up, this is about the kids having fun, and if your kids are having fun, by golly, you should have fun. I should. And I know it was tough. I wish I could say I just ran a perfect race. My wife grounded me a lot of times. She showed me from one soccer field to the next. Can you have fun? Isn't that amazing? Somebody's got to tell you that. Thank goodness for my wife. Because what she has, and she goes back to this, notice again, I want to go back to the mission statement. They're trying to get us to become more mentally and physically in shape for the next phase of your life. That's the key. I can only equate this maybe visually as a spotter. We as parents, if I could put two of them up there, we are on both sides of the weight. And as a spotter, notice that the guy does not have his hands on the bar. None. We as parents have to have our hands off. Now, we're an encourager, and if they start to get hurt, they'll grab that bar. But outside, what I deal with all the time with parents is they have their hands on the bar, and as soon as the child, your child, starts to get stress, starts to get pressure, starts to see change and challenges, what do? We grab the bar and we lift it for them. They do not get stronger. They've got to sweat. They have to hurt. They have to solve this out while they're under your supervision and the coaches. So when they go from junior high to high school, they're mentally tough. When they go to college and the first time something negative happens, they won't quit college. When they get out in the workforce and somebody gives them some kind of constructive criticism, they will gut it out. When they get married, and we know that it always starts out perfect, and guess what? If something goes wrong, they will not quit because they are mentally tough. This is a big part of this program. So just real quick, emotional intelligence, we teach them about not getting too high or too low. You know, we like victories and we will go through the losses. They start embracing some of the things. They embrace constraints. Official, like myself, calls it real tight one game and loose the next. And a mentally tough person, what they will do is say, this is the way the game's going to be played, and they adapt, rather than complain about the official. They'll never complain about the official. They will always adapt, being mentally tough. Failures, imperfections, it's all down the line that will make you from one side to the other. So it's a constant classroom setup that we go step by step to help your child out. It's, I think, the most important thing that we can teach our kids. 30,000 kids in Michigan State, they all went out for one reason, it was fun. So that's what we want to make this year Team Focus. And I want to tell you, it's one of the few programs that when he says it's more than basketball. I went down to Gatlinburg, we went to Caves, we went all over the place. It was much, much more. Basketball was just a small fraction of what they're trying to teach. I say, God bless it. The only reason when I go through an interview, I don't go through an interview to say, please hire me. I look at it, do I want to be a part of something that's very special? And this is one of them. It is just different than anything I've ever seen in an AAU or in a basketball off the high school campus. The only last thing I have for you is one rule that my wife and I learned, that do not coach on the way home in the car. It is by far, again, somebody in that car is tired, somebody in that car is hungry, somebody is probably irritable, and it's probably you. And all of a sudden now we decide we want to coach. And you want to rehash something that the child does not want. They need to decompress. So my wife and I, we would never talk. You got to realize, being a coach, I wanted to talk about it all the time. She never did. My wife would always say the same thing about the same words. She just loves watching her kids play. She would never talk about their golf swing. I was a golf coach, and or anything about the coaching staff or anything like that. It's just that we love watching your kids participate in something like this. You always got to go back to why you were here and why you chose this program. So the last thing is, you have a choice of putting your kids on 2 different rides. And what I see and what I have to go through every time, the parents that put them on a carousel, that you control the speed, awesome. You're going to have the wins and the losses, but you're going to control the high and low. And your kids will feel safe. They love consistency. Kids love it. That's all that I can tell you. Then we have some of us that put them on a roller coaster. It is fast, and it goes way up, and it's down, and it gets scary. And when the kids get afraid, they will quit, because they have only so much energy. They go up real high, and then sometimes they don't have enough energy to come back up. So you have a choice to put them on 1 of 2 rides. I'm saying put them on the carousel. You get to control that part of it. And a big part of this, walking through this door, you're telling me that's what you want. So my job, again, mental toughness is simply, it's going to be here. Stress, challenges, changes all the time. So we might as well get good at it and teach your child. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, be easy on Marla. This is her first talk. We're almost there, so I appreciate everybody being patient, and the next few things we're going to run through.
Of all the funny things, they got me to talk about rules and regulations. Not a really big rule follower, as my family would completely understand. Some of the contracts that we like to have our parents and players sign, some of it is very much common sense. Some of it we need to reiterate. So you will either be signing this, or you already have signed it, but it is with the registration packet. It is with our whole team focus registration. So just a couple of them that I wanted to go over with the players especially. We're coaching them with basketball, but we're also trying to make them responsible young men and women. That involves also having their shoes, their uniform, their mouthpiece, their jump rope, their towel, and all other items needed for games and practices, and be ready to go. It doesn't mean that mom comes running up at the end and gives them their shoes or helps put them on, things like that. But that's very important. That's just a life lesson in being prepared, being ready to go for something that you're supposed to be doing. So a lot of it is just up there on the screen, making sure that the kids have drinks before the game starts. They don't get dehydrated during the game. Somebody has to run and get them something. The older kids especially don't use electronic devices during the events. That's one of the big pet peeves of the coach that I work with on a regular basis. These kids are all student athletes. They're not athletes that are students. So we're very involved in making sure that they are going to be the best student in school that they can be, and understanding the importance of good grades. At least once or twice during the school year, the coaches will ask to see copies of the report cards. We want to make sure that basketball is not taking over their lives and they are not doing worse in school. We want to make sure that school is more important than what this basketball program is about. Cleaning up after we play. A lot of you who've been here before will see me always going, even if it's not our game, going behind the benches and picking up all the trash. I am going to be 54 years old this year. I don't need to do that. I have younger kids that can reach the ground a lot quicker than I can and help me pick up the trash. Yep. part of the parent contract that we really wanted to go over is that making sure you will support all players and families on your child's team and the entire program. We've had some things come up in the past where there were some instances. Please talk to the coach first. If not a coach, a board member, somebody. Please don't take it upon yourself to try to have a difficult conversation with another parent. You may not know all the circumstances that's going on in their lives. You may not know things that have been told to the coaches or the board members. We want to try to work it all out. We want to try to make sure everybody knows that we're there to support all of them. That also includes discussing other players on the child's team, of course. So please bring that up with the head coach or the assistant coach or even any of the board members, and we can help with that. I don't remember. I know one that's kind of important as well is coaching from the stands. They all made sure that they wanted me to make sure I mentioned that. When your player is your child is on the court, please, they are to look and listen to only the coaches that are coaching them. Ken talked about not coaching on the way home. Maybe there should be a little bit of a rule or a limit as to how soon you talk to your child after the game. But please, during the games and the practices, your child should be looking and listening only to the coach who's coaching them at that time. So I think that was all that I got to talk about today. I did just want to mention one thing. The Mad Anthony Children's Hope House is very important to me. I will be probably your go-to person if you have any other questions or need anything. I'm going to try to make it as competitive and raise enough money or as much money as we possibly can so that we can make it successful again this year and really kick Gym Rat's booty. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Marla.